Welcome to the first J and E Comic Cast. My name is Josiah,
I'm Emilio.
and I scuffed it.
Nah, you didn't scuff it. We're good. Keep going. There's a comic cast where we talk about our podcast. We call it comic cast. We talk about all things Marvel, DC, video games, anime. I love anime. He likes anime too, so we talk about that too. He has his own Twitch channel, so we cover a wide variety of topics. You know what I mean? So we got a lot of content for you guys, a lot of information coming at you guys. We talk about movies. I scuffed it. Now I scuffed it.
TV shows, which we just talk about everything, like everything that's comic related, like going into Loki now popping up, Superman and Lois.
It's about to end the first season. So
first season
going on.
So just stick around. If you have anything you want to share with us, feel free to comment it. Follow our social medias and stuff. We'll love to hear.
Slide in the DMs.
We'll love to hear from you guys as well. This is not only our comic cast, but it's your comic cast. Anything that you want us to touch base on, any questions you may have from a comic you read that we have read, we'll love to hear from you guys. So starting it off, favorite superhero, go.
You put me on the spot. I thought you were gonna answer the question yourself. Batman. I know it sounds so
My man.
Batman. Day one Batman fan.
So DC is Batman for both of us. What about Marvel? Who's your favorite superhero at Marvel?
You know, I feel like that's really kind of jumped around. For me, depending on what movie I'm watching, but I am a big fan of Sam Wilson's Captain America.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've really grown to really like and appreciate the character and everything that he stands for.
Okay.
I like the way I like his moral compass, how he goes about things. He's kind of like almost like Marvel's version of Batman, because he doesn't really have powers. You know what I mean? He just has his high tech wingsuit. Now he has a vibranium suit thanks to the Wakandans.
Okay.
And he just and he got hands. He got little hands. He doesn't have Batman hands. He could fight a little bit, though. He could defend himself. You know. So I think Sam Wilson's been pretty big for me. But depending, like if you asked a couple of years ago, I would have said Iron Man. So Iron Man is a lot more like Batman. But I think. What about you?
I would say, for me being 19 and everything, I would say Spider-Man. I feel like he's more relatable. You see his life struggle between managing school and managing his superpowers, managing everyday life, and he just being all around relatable character for me. You see his teenage hormones when he's liking a girl and stuff, how he reacts to that. Like, I think he's just more relatable for me personally. And
he feels a lot too.
He feels
a lot, which I think is a good thing, though, because like if you look like anime, cut you off, but if you look if you look at like Superman, you know what I mean? Like Superman's perfect, so it's hard for people to relate with Superman. When Superman doesn't really fall. Though I will say that Superman and Lois on the CW does a pretty good job of giving us an inside look at Superman and kind of the things that he's dealing with. If you guys haven't watched that as a father, you know it's pretty good.
I agree with you with that, because I was never a huge Superman fan. I was always Batman can beat Superman, all this. But watching that show helped me see Superman as a hero. And that's something that I always thought was like, bro, he's a hero when it comes to saving his girl or whatever. But as soon as something happens to Lois, he hates the whole planet. No. He's a hero.
Like an injustice. Although he had good reason, though, to go off an injustice. I don't blame him. I would have done the same thing.
I mean, I think Batman had the better moral compass right there at the time. But I just feel like as Superman's grown very, as a character that I do enjoy, and I would love to, when season 2 comes out, and see more of him. And I like how the way they're presenting him as a character, me personally.
You know, so you talked about. I think one of the like really cool things that I noticed that I remember watching in this last episode, which had a lot of things going on. I thought there was like a really cool scene, and it's a little minor spoiler if you guys haven't watched it, where Lana's going to the army base, and the first time that she sees Superman, you know, she's awestruck. You know what I mean? I think it was like a really cool scene because it kind of brought us back to like Superman, like when we were younger, like the original Superman movies of Christopher Reeves, you know, where he had like this thing of like this aura of like really good, you know what I mean, and like amazement and I think like the other really good, and this now I'm kind of jumping a little bit more comes to Superman, but there's a scene that sticks out to me in Batman vs Superman too, where it's kind of like touches on like the same thing of like awe and like, yo, like here's this guy in front of me, where Superman goes and he saves, I think, these kids out of this burning building in Mexico, and he brings a little girl, I think it was a little boy, and he's in the middle of the crowd and everybody just wanted to touch him, you know what I mean, like he has like this god like thing, you know. So I think that's like one of the really cool things too, you know. And I think that like, and I think Batman vs Superman too, and again I know I'm jumping a little bit, but I think that like a lot of the newer stuff, you know what I mean, has done a really good job of giving us like a look of what like a look into what Superman goes through mentally, you know what I mean, like where you, of course, you know, he has the love, you know what I mean, people that love him and people that adore him and idolize him, but then there are people out there that don't trust him still, and fear him and want to come at him. And I think that Superman and Lois the show does a really good job of kind of like playing with the balances of that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like the I think it was 3 episodes ago where Captain Lex wasn't really his name, John.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, but when he was like,
that.
when he started fighting Superman, like we saw like the reason behind his fear of him, like, and we saw the reason of his dad making those kryptonite weapons as well, because Superman does put a fear because he is all powerful
and they can't control him,
but he can't be controlled. But one thing I do love about Superman is the fact that he has a heart, and that's what makes Superman great, because his heart is risking his life for a planet that he doesn't need to be a part of, or doesn't need to be, that he can rule almost, but he doesn't want to rule them. He wants to become one of them and show them that there's a better way. Which, jumping to Batman, is like, I am fear. Batman is fear.
That's his weapon.
That's his
superpower.
That's his superpower. Like, he wants to be feared because he lives a different lifestyle in Gotham. You have Joker, Scarecrow, all these characters that growing up is a fear tactic they use for kids. Some kids are afraid of clowns, some are afraid of ghosts, and you have those characters in Gotham that put that fear. And Batman has a good heart when it comes to kids, because what he experienced as a kid, losing both of his parents, he has that special place for his heart. That's why he took under his wing Dick Grayson, Batgirl, Damian, Jason. You have all these sidekicks, Tim Drake, all these sidekicks, because he relates to their struggle. Like,
yeah, and I think the other thing too, you know, about Batman's thing is that, I mean, obviously his moral compass is really strong too. We talked about a little bit of the whole injustice thing, you know what I mean, and why he didn't react the way Superman react. You know, I think so he has a moral compass, but it's not maybe in the same way as Superman's, because Batman, and maybe it's because of like what their experiences, though they both lost their parents, Superman didn't know his parents, you know what I mean? So it was a different thing versus Batman was his parents, because he got to know his parents, he got to experience everything with them, and he got to experience, you know, what loving them was and what lost is. So he wants to do everything, like you said, to kind of make sure that no kids in Gotham goes through the same thing that he kind of went through. So, yeah, I mean, so just that, you know what I mean? So like they both have strong moral compasses, but just in like different ways, you know what I mean? And it's hard to really like put fault with either one, you know, because Batman, he's I guess he leans more to like towards like the vigilante justice type thing. You know what I mean? He's doing what he feels like he has to do for his city, and he has to go against these, like you said, these scarecrows and the Jokers and these villains that don't have any kind of moral compass. Superman too, you know, but Superman's work is a little bit more clean cut.
If you haven't watched it already, but what I've been telling you to watch and you've started watching is the New 52 series. That is one of my favorite movie series, because we see Batman story between him and Damian, him and Dick, his love for his team and how he would give his own life for each and every one of them. You see that struggle. You don't really see too much of Superman's side, but we even see a little spoiler for that if you haven't watched it. But in the movie Death of Superman, we see the love the love he has for Superman. No more spoilers, but like he has a good heart, but because he lost so much at a young age and what he had to experience at a young age, he had to grow up faster than he wanted to, so he never really had like a childhood. So now he wants to make sure that no other kid experiences what he experiences of losing a loved one, a parent. So it's one of my favorite series.
You know, it's one of the things when you talk about that. I remember that there was an episode in Justice League 2, not in Justice League 2, but in Justice League as well, where Superman he gets blasted. Everybody thinks he's dead. He ends up getting blasted to the future. Something like that happens. And you can find all the stuff on HBO Max. HBO Max sponsor us. We're gonna keep name dropping these guys. So there's episode 2 where like everybody's like, "Yo, Superman's dead," and you know you talk about how Batman's love for Superman, and in that episode, Batman refuses to believe it. So he starts doing all this investigative work, and then he finds out, and he realizes, "Yo, he's not dead. He just got blasted to the future. What can we do?" You know. And so I think that was like really cool too, because Batman, you know, he's portrayed a lot as like this cold, you know, tough choices making character. And then when you have episodes like that in these shows, you see that there's a lot more to him, that he's probably, you know, one of the characters with the biggest heart, you know, but he is who he is because that's who he needs to be for him to get the job done. So I think that's one of the things that resonates with me about Batman, you know, is that he loves people, he loves great, and he loves big, and he loves deeply, but he understands that until his mission is done, he can't allow himself to fully embrace those emotions. Or if he does embrace them, he embraces them kind of like what you were saying with like taking in like these kids that he saw himself in, you know what I mean, and hopefully giving them putting them on the path to have a better life, so that they don't go through the heartache or the childhood that he went through without his parents, and like him being with them, him taking them in, he can kind of be their parent figure for them. So it's Batman's pretty crazy, you know. Maybe it'd be cool, you know, to see the CW if they could drop something like that, you know, kind of like now we have Superman and Lois, so now we see that they can go ahead and take like these big characters and have these budgets and make them into like a really entertaining show that you could watch on a weekly basis. So it'd be really cool, you know, if the guys at WB or DC or whoever has to make it happen, could go ahead and do the same thing with Batman. You know, it'd be nice to see. You know, we've had all these shows that talk about everybody but Batman. You know, we kind of got to see him a little bit in the Gotham show.
Yeah.
Which I didn't really watch much of, to be honest. But the whole point of the Gotham show was not Batman's story. The whole point of the Gotham show was Commissioner Gordon's story. So it would be cool now that they see that this Superman thing can actually work out. It would be cool to see them give us a whole series based off Batman, you know.
I would love to see
Batman and Lois, but not really Lois, you know?
I would love to see a Batman Inc. So Batman Inc. series focuses on everyone that he took under his wings, commanding them, running like an organization of superheroes, young superheroes and stuff. Again, a show that you still haven't seen, and I'm fighting for you to see.
Is there more spoilers?
Young Justice, we see a little bit.
I saw one episode.
You saw two. I showed you two.
Okay.
But Young Justice had Batman, a little Batman Inc. series in it, which to me was like amazing. Where you had Oracle running things behind the computer. You had Dick Grayson out in the field. Tim Drake out in the field with him. Batman behind, leaving the Justice League and running things blindly with Wonder Woman and stuff. Like, you just saw so much in that show, and I would love for them to do a little mini series with Batman Inc. where it focuses on his family aspect, other than focus on just him. Because we had a lot of Batman movies, TV shows.
We've had great Batman movies.
We had great Batman
movies.
movies.
Batman ones too, but
yeah,
I feel like I'm a simp for Batman.
So, just getting like a behind the scene, like a Nightwing show, even, or like just a little teasers.
HBO, make that happen, man. That's the second name drop, HBO.
HBO.
We gotta put a counter somewhere. And when we hit 1,000, HBO let us send us some money, right?
A little sponsorship, a little sponsorship.
A little something. HBO Max free for a year.
Speak about HBO Max. They're dropping a new Superman TV show to come, animated TV show, and a new Batman animated series to come as well. What are you thinking about?
I didn't know about the Batman one.
Oh, you didn't know? I thought I texted to you. But yeah, a Batman animated series is to come again. So we had the 1990 edition one.
I think it was
1919. The original Batman animated series.
That's on HBO Max. Third.
That is on HBO Max.
Third counter. Where's the third strike?
Then we had the 2007 version with the Joker with the dreadlocks.
Which that was an interesting take on the character, but I know a lot of people, I think at first were really, I guess, into that, because you have Batman the animated series and like how iconic that was and all those awards it won, and then you have Batman with sporting a really different look. You know what I mean? Joker sporting a different look, but so at first I didn't really like it personally either, but watching it, it really grew on me. I think it was a really well made show. It doesn't quite capture like the tone of like the first one, but. That's one thing I like about DC. I think DC does really good animated work.
Oh, 100%. I have to give Marvel credit for their modern movies that are coming out now. They take that by far compared to DC. But DC's comic books and their TV shows and animated series, by far, DC takes that. In my opinion, again, this is a podcast based on our opinions and theories and stuff that we think. So, my opinion, I think DC takes that by hand. But Marvel, you have to give them credit on their movies now. Their CGI work is amazing. Their storylines are amazing. You have to give them credit for that.
And it's kind of crazy to think that some of these movies, came out over 10 years ago. And even with all the advances in technology that we have now, Marvel's CGI still holds up. Though I think, me personally, and maybe because of my love for DC, I think a lot of the DC movies are slept on. I think that though except Justice League is not slept on. The OG Justice League was trash, so we're not having that's not a discussion for us to even have. I saw it one time, I couldn't bear myself to watch it again. But I think Batman vs Superman is really good. I think maybe like the Ultimate Edition in time, people look at it and be like, yo, you know what, like what Zack Snyder was doing here was crazy. I think Man of Steel was one of my favorite movies. I don't know how you feel about Man of Steel, but I've watched that probably easily 50 times.
I enjoyed Man of Steel a lot. I think compared to Batman vs Superman, I did enjoy it more than that. Issue I had with Batman vs Superman was the fact when they dropped Justice League, I think it was like 2-3 years later, or like a year or two later, something like that, and brought back Superman so soon. I felt like that was...
that's one of the things that kind of bugged me.
That bugged me as well.
Like I said, the Justice League movie was
yeah. I feel like
trash.
They should have brought him back in like the next Justice League movie where they try to figure out how to bring out Superman. They should have just created the Justice League, bring out Batman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter. We got to see in the new Justice League.
And
the Zack Snyder's cut.
Which if they would have brought that out at the beginning, we might have been talking about a whole different, DC universe now, because I feel like that movie could have propelled them, you know what I mean, forward, and expanded their universe in the right way. And
that was the only issue that I had, was the fact that Martian Manhunter didn't really do anything when this big war broke out. Like, I feel like he should have at least played a part where he was getting introduced, like not leave him to the end. I feel like he's such a character that a lot of people love. I grown to love Martian Manhunter, and he wasn't had enough screen time or a big part in the movie itself.
But you know, I kind of disagree with that. I disagree with that because I think that if you look at it, you know, he didn't know how the world was going to accept him as an alien, which nobody really knew until Superman kind of came out and introduced himself. And even then, at the beginning, you know what I mean, I would have hesitated too because at the beginning, if you remember Man of Steel, when Superman first came out, they were everybody was afraid of him. You know, they turned him over to Zod. You know what I mean? And in part because they're trying to save themselves, you know. But that's like one of the things that I think that was like one of the themes that movie was talking about was you know, I guess if he could trust them, if they can trust him, you know. So maybe Martian Manhunter looking at things, you know what I mean, saying, "Oh, look, this guy that's, you know, that hasn't done anything wrong, we're just turning him over. He's been here for a certain amount of time. He hasn't done anything wrong. He hasn't come at any human, and the people are so quick to try to like turn their back on him. So maybe in the Martian Manhunter's eyes, he's looking at the situation play out, and he's like, you know what? Maybe it's not the time for me to reveal myself. But if you think about a situation though, maybe he wasn't like, you know, out front and active as a Martian Manhunter and helping people out. He was a general, so he was doing something to help in a way that, you know, I guess in as human of a way as possible. So so like in that regard too, and then even in Batman versus Superman, he's there as well. I think he's not. I think he's Colonel Lennox, or I don't know if he's General Lennox. I think he becomes Secretary of Defense. I think in Batman
Something
versus
like
Superman.
that, yeah.
So he's moving up the line and he's doing things the right way. He's helping Lois out in that movie, you know. And Justice League, spoiler if you haven't watched it, it's on HBO Max. Fourth time I mentioned it. Cuatro veces. He's there and he's the one who kind of gets Lois's character out of the rut that she's in after Superman dies. So he's helping out in the ways that he needs to help out, and that's, I think, that as DC fans we were kind of robbed of. And maybe WB and DC changed their mind and we get a second part to Zack Snyder's Justice League because he's hinted at. I think in the next part he probably would have had more of a role, and the people who are fans of him like you and myself, who really came to know him from watching the Justice League animated series, could have gotten a chance to really see what he can do to help. And
what is
the day.
Yeah. What is your opinion on who they're gonna bring out next? What characters you think are to come?
Well, we know we have Shazam 2 coming out.
Yeah. And we saw in
I've never been a fan of the Shazam anyway. I think it should have been Captain Marvel, but I understand the whole DC Marvel thing.
Yeah.
But I grew up as Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
But and then we have Black Adam.
Yeah.
So those are confirmed. I think they have a Green Lantern thing coming out on HBO
Green
Max.
Lantern to a corpse.
Yeah. 5 times.
Soon we'll get that sponsorship. Soon.
Yeah, soon. I'm working on that.
We're working on it. Okay.
Working on that. So, I think it would be really cool to see a Nightwing thing. I don't think we've ever seen anything Nightwing. I think that'd be really interesting. I think if they do Green Lantern, it would be really cool to see Jon Stewart as Green Lantern. We get that kind of character because I know for me watching him in Justice League, it was and Justice League the animated series was really interesting. You know what I mean?
I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that his character was like one of like the really strong like moral pillars for that team. You know, and kind of helped keep things in check. You know. So I thought he was really interesting. I thought he was that's something. I just remember that one scene in that, and I think it's called Justice League War.
Yes.
That I watched with you.
Yes.
Where Green Lantern was kind of like the comic relief. That was hilarious. Where he goes to fight Darkseid and Darkseid just washes him. That's like one of my favorite scenes, I think, in any comic book movie I've ever seen. I can't remember laughing so hard. So I think it'd be kind of cool to see that. Who else? I said Nightwing. You know what I think would be really cool to see? I think it would be really cool if they adapted the Arkham Knights, like the Arkham stories, like the Arkham video game stories, and put that into an animated movie or even a physical movie. You know, I think that would be amazing. I think Arkham Knight being my favorite one of the four. I think watching that play out in real life would be bonkers. You know, kind of seeing everything. You know, like I like how like the game kind of like showed us like a little bit of what Batman dealt with Jason Todd and kept giving us these things. You know what I mean? Batman's going through. If you haven't played those games right now, I mean, I don't even want to say sport warning. I think the games are like 10 years old, but
still amazing.
Yeah. Of course. I think I'm be playing through Arkham City now, but I think that kind of seeing like everything Batman went through, his backstory, how the game ended was crazy. I think the game ending kind of touched on a little bit of what you were saying with like the whole Batman Inc. You know what I mean? How he, like in a sense, like he becomes more than just a man. He becomes an ideal. He becomes like this legend, like this myth. And he still has his people. You know what I mean? He still has Robin still in it, Nightwing still in it. You have Oracle. You have these people that are still working for him that can go ahead and protect the city. And you probably have Red Hood, they never explored it any further than that. And I think they could. I think there's more story to tell there if they really wanted to tell about, like, his proteges. But Red Hood didn't die at the end either, so it would be cool to kind of see,
what I know with
you
that.
know what I mean? Like where they could go with that. So, like, there's so many things that they could do.
I liked it. So, in one of the New 52s, they mentioned that Superman is the beacon of hope, of course. But Batman is the beacon of heroes. He creates heroes. He inspires heroes to become heroes. And that's something that I was like, it's true. Look how many known characters Batman has influenced or take part in their lives. He had Nightwing, you have Red Hood, he was working with Wonder Woman, he's worked with Superman, he's worked with a lot of characters, Green Lantern, as we saw in War.
Yeah, and all these characters look up to him to like respect too. Like I remember, like in the Zack Snyder's Justice League, you have the little moment with him and the Flash. When Flash realizes who he is. You have the moment with him and Cyborg when Cyborg was like, "Oh, I thought you were a myth." You know what I mean? And he was like, "I'm real when I need to be." I thought that was like a really cool scene too.
Yeah.
So like kind of like piggyback on what you're saying. Like there's so much that he's done for like the universe overall as like a whole.
Yeah,
that's really interesting.
And then I think we're getting a little bit of that Batman Inc. with the new game Gotham Knights that's coming out now next year because of COVID and stuff.
Yeah, that got pushed back, and my God of War got pushed back too. So
yeah, that's a little sad. But
Gotham
Gotham Knights bringing out the Quarter Owls. Oh my gosh! When I say that hit me because Quarter Owls is one of my favorite comic book series. That's why I'm so in love of the New 52 animated series as well, because they made my favorite comic book come to life. So it was wow when they brought out the Quarter Owls in the game. I'm looking forward to that game dropping in 2022. That's getting on my pre-order list, my wish list, and that will most likely be streamed on my Twitch.
Hey, Dr.
Twitch /J Holla.
Follow, subscribe.
Yeah.
The little thing where you click the heart button and you get the notifications too.
But I think first episode we talked about Batman, DC, and what's to come out of our
what's crazy
podcast.
Is we the things that we had in mind to talk about we didn't even touch upon. We didn't touch upon Loki, which was crazy.
Next episode.
We didn't talk about. We talked a little bit about Superman and Lois.
Yeah.
But we didn't talk about the episode, which was crazy too, and like the little things, like the little like Easter eggs that they were dropping.
Yeah.
The Eradicator, for those who know about the death of Superman, was kind of crazy for me, and then they just kept like like ringing a bell in my head. Time I heard Eradicator. So we don't know where we're going with that, but you're right. Next episode.
So
we're content for you guys.
That's stuff that here to come. If you want to hear about Loki, that'll be an episode there. We'll be touching more based on Superman and Lois and a lot of other stuff. Like, let us know what you guys want to hear as well, because again, we enjoy learning new things and experiencing new comic book related stuff or animated related stuff.
So you guys can drop knowledge on us too.
Yeah.
We can have healthy discussions about it. Ask your questions. That you guys don't want to know more about us, we can do that too. There's so many different things, so many different places that we can go. But stick around with us. We're in it for the long haul. We're lovers of everything comics, so let's just talk. Let's have a conversation about it.
Yep. J&E Comics, we out.
Yeah, catch us next week.